Hello, watchers and listeners. I am your co host, Tiffany. Welcome back to Aligned Anyway.
And I'm Josh.
And today we have a conversation with Stacey Dry, who also happens to be my mother in law. She didn't want me to share that because apparently she doesn't want all of her many followers to know that she knows me, which she's going to regret when we are on a TV show and, I'm dulling out houses. But I wanted to bring my mother-in-law on because, at Aligned Anyway, we're really all about real authentic conversations. And last year I was able to live with Stacey and I really just learned a lot of wisdom and around friendships and things because I had just moved to a new state, as all of you know, and just kind of trying to get community as fast as I could without really focusing on the important things. So I just wanted the opportunity to have you on and really just kind of share some wisdom with us. And also, y'all, Mama Stacy, she just be saying anything. And that is exactly the energy that we need on the line anyway, which is why I want to have her on here. But want to hear from you, Mom. Why do you want to come on here? Why is talking on here and speaking vulnerably something that is interesting to you or something that you want to do? Because we kind of restarted this podcast really because you're subtle, not so subtle hints about getting it started back up. So, what is interesting about this to you?
There's a lot of reasons it's interesting. I'm of a certain age. I'm not going to say the number, but in my generation, of course, we didn't have social media. So learning social media, all the different podcasts, all the different topics and everything like that, a group of my friends, we go, why? And with your age group, you guys are more social people than we are. Not that we don't have our little circles, but we're not out there trying to create a different wheel. We fall in line with people who have things in common. Like I'm married, so most of my friends are married or widowed. So I think we look at things a little bit differently. Generation wise, it's always going to be different. I was asked a question once of, do you still have the same friends that you did when you were younger? No. When you're young and you're a teenager, you think as a teenager and everything you did was stupid and dumb and whatever, and your dreams. But as you grow older, hopefully, and I say hopefully, you mature and you learn that, first of all, you don't have to please anyone. Second of all, being more authentically you, I think, grows with your age. At this age, I don't give a hoot what people think. So if you're in my circle, you know exactly what's going to come out my mouth. If you're my friend, you know, if you don't want the answer, you don't ask the question. And I think younger folks, younger than you guys, because y'all are a little bit of, sprinkled a little bit.
Not, we're of a certain age now.
You're younger than me, but y'all not in your 20s no more. Okay. So,
Hi. Hey, no.
hey, what?
Talk about me because I just left him out there to drive by himself as I pretend to still be in my 20s.
I was like, girl, who we kidding right now?
So
You look good, but don't mean that age ain't the same.
So we don't, Tiffany, I remember when she got here, she's so used to having, friends. But why? Why do you need them? Not saying you don't, you do, but you have to say why. At my age, I've already lost friends. So my friends have to know themselves, learn how to be honest with themselves, and be comfortable being you. If you're comfortable not wearing makeup, it's fine. Be you all the time. So we enjoy being ourselves authentically at this age where we don't have anything to prove to anybody anymore. And I'm not saying it's for everybody because I know there are still people out there trying to climb some ladder or pretend they are this and then they get home and be like alone, crying, whatever, sad, depression, not facing truths. I want my friends to be honest. I go through the same things. We all go through our sad states. We all go through loss. We all lose friends, join new groups and things like that. But be yourself at all times. That way, people won't go, that's not the image she gave me. Like when you go to church and you see them church women. Yeah, them people.
And I just saw them at the club. They was, so.
Thank you. So, yeah, I don't like that. Be yourself at all times. That way, there's no questions in your character. Yeah.
Yeah, and what part would you say you had the hardest time with taking your own advice as you had to learn some of these lessons?
I was younger. The hardest time, I think, was when I was in my 80s, where a lot of my friends from, I want to say, we still knew each other, but we didn't go in the same circles. As I started maturing, and I have children. So as I started maturing and seeing I have a pathway that I have to take because I have these children. I cannot do what you're doing. So that did help the, I want to say, elevation, the growth of me, where they were, even though they were in their late 20s and 30s, there was no growth, there was no maturity, there was no directions for them. So that's one thing that did help me move on. Is that it was not easy. When you lose a friend that that's your ride or die, it's not easy, but you have to do something for yourself. You have to take care of yourself.
Something that you said like struck me when you were saying, I have kids, so I wasn't doing the things that they're doing anymore, and I had to kind of grow and mature, and my life shifted and changed. And I think when I came to North Carolina, I was going through a shift, meeting Don, and as you guys know, I became overnight bonus mom, and now my life is very different, and it was really important for me to like incorporate the kids, and I like family stuff anyway. So I was always like TT. I always had someone's baby with me. So I don't mind doing things like that. But I did have friends who do. And they were honest with me too. They were like, yeah, like I'm really not beat for like the family thing. And then I was kind of offended. But at the end of the day, like, what am I going to be offended by? Like, we just outgrew each other and we had to move on. And I think when I moved to North Carolina, that was shifting for me because then I had the kids full time. So then I was like, okay, well, who do I fit in with? Because now my time is taken up by a lot of this. So I need somebody who can come chill with me in the backyard while the kids are playing. So now I'm like, all right, how do I find these friends? And I think maybe it might have been easier for me to adjust and shift had I had kids and then grew up with them. So I learned the shifts. But because it came like just suddenly, I was like, whoa, what is this? And so that kind of, I think, threw some things off a
Yeah.
little bit for me. And I had to like figure out, a rebalance, a reset
Yeah.
in where I am now because
Yeah.
a lot of things had changed.
100%. I can't say I can relate to any part of being a dad. I am a dog parent,
It's the
There we
but
go.
same.
I would say that the shift for me was marriage. And I know that a lot of people say, well, it shouldn't change if the relationship is true. Well, for me, it wasn't the relationship that changed. It was my friendships. Because now it's not just about like having girl day or guy day with your buddies. It's now if I leave my husband at home, I'm an asshole. Or, I have to bring him, but maybe my friends don't like him and they're talking about him behind my back, but I don't know it yet. Because for out of respect for me, they're going to just tolerate it. No, my husband's great. I love him. But and I'm just saying, like in a general scenario or a synopsis, like that could very well be a case. So I think about that a lot. And there's times where, like, I used to hang out with my friends a lot, and a lot of that was growing up and having the time and, the priorities in different places. But at the same time, I think about it now, like, either A, we're all old as hell and we're just like in that genre of life, or
I think that's the part that we're like not registering.
it's got to be something else, right? It can't
We
be any other.
evolve. Everything
Right.
is going to evolve. When you get married, priorities change. Then you became a dog parent. It's still a parent. You have someone to take care of. It's like a child. You still gotta walk them and feed them and doctors. It's no different. I watched their dog for a year. Oh my God. It was like being there was a child in my house. It was. It's no different. I don't care where you are, how old you are. We pivot. We go through our changes in life. Those changes either going to make you better, you're going to learn something, or you're not, and it's going to break you. But accept the changes. It doesn't matter what other people think about whoever you're married to. I'm married to Daryl Try. I always say
You
that.
got to explain to the people what that means. They don't know.
Sounds like a
Josh is
bold
like, what's that
statement,
mean? He's
whatever
like,
that
what?
means. Tell me.
Daryl Dry is an introvert. I am a semi-introvert, but when he's around people he knows, he's the life of the party. It's totally different. He's funny, but just as in marriage, sometimes the person at home is different than the person outside the home. Because, you know,
That is such a good point, and, I shared this on the radio station where, like, literally just before that, you know how it turned where they started talking about relationships and things like that, and I think literally the night before I came to your house and we had a discussion, so, like, my mind shifted and my mindset changed right before that conversation where I was like, and something that you said, Josh, made me think of this too, is like you don't want to lose your individuality. I think what
Yeah.
I learned from like my past relationships that just weren't going right was I lost myself. So I'm like now hyper fixated and hypersensitive about not losing myself in the relationship that that still isn't great because I need some type of a balance. Like it's okay to just be chilling and just do regular things at home. You don't always have to be doing something. And I think like you were telling me, mom, you were like, slow down, sit down. Like I'm
damn,
always doing something. There's a project, there's this, there's that. And I think that a lot of that comes from just like what you were saying, Josh, when it was like, okay, we're hanging out with couples. Like, do my friends like him? Are they talking crap about him behind my back? And they just don't want that. Like, I can understand that because, when me and Don first started dating, I was like, come out, meet my friends, meet my family. Like, this is, but that I did not get a great like reaction and not like because people didn't like him, but because mom, you know this, and Josh, you know too. Don's very introverted. Like he but he's silly as hell and people just don't know that. Like he's goofy and he's funny and but like you don't know if he doesn't trust you or he's not around you enough for you to really understand that vibe. So it's like I don't my friends were never going to know that part of him unless they be in the house chilling, and I don't have many friends that can just come to the house and chill, right? And so that's where I had to learn like those boundaries and like not everybody is going to be in your house. That's just the outside friend. They may not even need to meet your man or meet your spouse or whomever at all. And you don't have to let everybody in. And that's where it kind of comes back to that boundaries things with in relationships too.
your house is your house. What goes on inside your house, that is y'all. And I was telling Tiffany, when you meet someone, they are an individual human being. You will always have a disagreement with something. You're not always going to be on the same page. The point is to respect each other's opinions. That's more important than agreeing with what they if you don't believe that, you don't have to believe that. Just respect someone else's opinion. It's okay. That's the most important thing in a relationship. Space is also important in a relationship. I need lots of space.
Lots. Yo, we would
Are we
come. I
talking
would
like
be
from here to
like,
China space? Like what kind of space are we
Oh,
talking?
just
she watches TV in the living room, he'll be in the bedroom and just like and I would be like, "Oh," and we're not like that. We're not at that phase yet. We're like right here like
well, we never were because Daryl and I were both single for a long period of time. So we gotten used to being by ourselves. And when we met, it's just we spend time together. We'll watch a movie together or a show together, but that's about it. Of course, we have our conversations every day, but then we both need our space. And it's just important to us. Now, we do have date nights or breakfast dates and things like that, but our space, yeah, that's important. Yeah.
You think about
I
the
think
people
if you
that have
spend
like
too
separate
much
spaces.
time with somebody, it's like, okay, hold on. I'm used to being alone. I'm used to my thoughts. So give me some time. Yeah.
Totally get that. What do you think about the couples that have their own separate spaces, like Sex in the City, for example? Like Sarah Jessica Parker's character ended up having her own apartment separate from her own house, where they actually, her and her
There
husband
are a
was.
lot of marriages like that, believe it or not.
Yeah, like
There are a
what are your
lot of
thoughts on that? I'd love to hear from your
if it
perspective.
works for you, if it works for you, it works for you. If that's what you have to do to keep together, because for whatever reason, maybe they're messy to the point where you can't take it. Maybe they have dogs or cats and you just don't want to live with the dogs and cats, but you both come together at some point in time on your calendars and it works for you and it makes you happy. That's all that matters. I don't have to, no one else has to be in my relationship but me and him.
I mean, if I'm being honest, Like, I really like to decorate and I like my space and I'm very particular and I like things just
And my
as you
son is
know,
not and
I
don't care.
like things just so, and he does not care about any of it. And I'm like, "Hey, I got these cute little things right here for you to put your keys in there. Put them in there. I got this cute little thing for you to do that." No. So,
And
if
even though Donald is not Daryl's biological child, it's like it is. It is. It's amazing.
listen, if this economy wasn't the way that it is and we could afford it, and yes, I would have like the cutest like little witchy kind of like foresty fairy vibe going on, but I have to try to like keep things neutral. So I don't mind like if people want to do that, then that's okay.
Think whatever
However,
works for you works for
yeah,
you.
but like the houses need to be next door. Like
Or
I
the
got to be able to
apartments, you live
walk
on that
over.
I can knock
Yeah,
on the door and, you're
exactly.
right there.
Yeah.
Or if it's a big house, you have this wing and I have that wing or whatever.
That would be even better. Josh, what do you think about that? Like, how would you feel? Because I don't really know. Like, I feel like you and Dylan are like, you're a lot. You're a lot around each other a lot.
Well, a lot. You're right. We are a lot.
A lot.
No, I do feel like there's some part of that that's intriguing, but there's also some part that's alone, like lonely for me because I do like the ability to feel safe when I'm going to bed and my partner's next to me, knowing that like if something happens, someone breaks in my home, I need to be able to be the protector and get out my gun and pop some. I need to be able to protect my husband. You know what I mean?
See, I
But
feel like let me not that he can't. My husband's pretty big, but it's not. I just want to shoot the person. Like, let me do that. Let me do that.
Wait, so since we're talking about that, this is coming from the woman when I first met her, very first day. Mind you, I know she likes like artists, like black artists, and so we went to a specific place that had art, and it was this, like I tell you the story. So I digress, you guys. But we were in downtown Durham, and I asked the lady, I said, "Is there any art in here that's featured that's by black artists?" And she like deer in headlights stared at me, and I was like, is that not a thing? Do you not know who the artists are? Like
is that a
sometimes there's
unicorn?
like
Like
a
what the
section, like what the hell is wrong with you? And like me and Don had this is like we move pretty quickly as everyone knows. So I met her pretty quickly. So this is like new in the beginning. So I think this is like first time Don seeing like my attitude because I was like, is there a problem? Like, could I not like black art? Like it was giving like, dare you ask for that? Like I didn't like it. But I ended up getting the black artist, and it was this really pretty girl, and her hair was like made of books and things like that. And then as we're leaving, she's like, so, and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything's going great. You know, I had hit it off really well with his sister, and she like, she a little shorty. She pulls me down and she whispers and she's like, if you hurt him, I got a 9 millimeter in my nightstand. I'm like, "Oh, she crazy." And I like tell Don, and we're just talking. It's like hours later that I tell him, and it's like very nonchalant. And he's like, "Oh, you're real chill about that." I was like, "Yeah. I mean, I don't plan on hurting you, so like, okay." I was like, "She cool," and he was like, "That didn't you don't care?" I was like, "Please, I have heard worse."
I've heard worse than somebody threatening to kill me, okay? A little duck never hurt nobody.
Just a little protective. Just a little bit.
Seth,
Just a little bit protective. That's all. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah.
I think that when it comes to like friends in that space, like how we're talking about like how much you need to be with your partner, like everybody has different time frames they need. And it was funny because like my friend, I don't know if you've definitely met her, Josh, but my friend Mo and her wife Elena, they're similar. Like Elena's a introvert, Mo's an extrovert. Her and I like can be a lot together. Oh my gosh, when we were networking together and doing stuff and mixing like business with entrepreneurship with friendship, I couldn't tell who was a friend and who was a business partner. It was a lot. So like Don came around the time where I was like having panic attacks because I was hanging out with too many people and freaking out. So he came and was like, "Come here. Sit down." And it was like exactly, what I needed. So I got very grounded like in that, but it really shifted my friendships too, where I was like, I don't really know if I want like this energy and I would love to like, hang out with her. But a lot of times other people would end up coming and I'm like, oh, I'm not in a space where I want to share. these things with other people because I feel like I was in such a good space and like, me and Don were doing great and I was just so excited to like be in love and like have all the things happen to me that I want. And I would have friends who would like just put salt in that shit, like say the negative things. So I just was became very protective of like the good things that I wanted to hold dear. They would be like, "Oh, that sounds like love bombing." And I'm just like, just because somebody ain't loving on you, don't be trying to throw bombs up in my stuff.
Do you
Never.
find that, and I know I've lost a lot of friends, when I finally decided, okay, I going to get married again, because I didn't think I would. My girlfriends were like, "Oh, let me hook you up. Let me hook you up." And I had a criteria by that time because my children were almost, I only had 3 kids at home and there was no more babies. So I want somebody who was going to put more attention on me than the children because now I'm close to 40 and I've lived a life. I've taken care of them. I've done what I'm supposed to do. I want somebody that's going to wine and dine me. They are okay. They're heading to colleges. They're leaving. One day they will, but that's what I wanted. So I didn't want somebody with children, or if they had children, they had to be older like mine, who, that the important stuff was already done. And I didn't want mama drama because I'm not bringing you mama drama. So, those things were important to me. So every
Very
time somebody
smart.
says, "Stacey, I found somebody," the first question I ask, "Do they have kids?" Yeah. Well, then you didn't find somebody for me. And I, then I got,
And here I am with, with your son
but,
with the 4,
and
so
that's the thing. And I've told Tiffany this. I have 4 boys and they all have children, and they are not the type to get rid of their children for anyone. So to me, that means a woman's going to have, she's going to be strong because you're taking on this village, and I mean, it could have been any one of them, Donald, whoever. You have to understand that this is important to them. So that means you got to be, a mom and be likable and something. And Tiffany
and be an
alright.
asshole. So I'm
She
all
alright.
right. Listen. Well, the funny thing is like, and this is where, people would say in my family, we've talked about this, and they're like, he got
Mhm.
4 kids. You sure?
Yeah.
Or,
I said,
me and
did I say
Josh,
that? I said, "Are you sure you
are
want
you sure you did?
that responsibility?"
Josh and I just talked about it, how we were just talking about like when people said, "Oh, it couldn't be me." And I would get
Okay.
that often, like, okay, it's not you. But like the thing is, and you know this, I have always wanted children. I
Right.
always thought that I would have kids by now. So the fact that I did it was like weird. So I actually was specifically looking for someone who had kids of a certain age so that I could experience the things that I know I'm not going to be able to experience because now I'm having children late. So, like, for instance, Kylie just went to prom, and I'm still where I'm like, fun. And I want to, like, they had the music going in the hotel. I know, me, and they mama was up in there dancing with them, right? Like, I'm still at that time where I can enjoy that and really have a good time. By the time my kid is that age, when I do have children, I'm not going to be that age anymore. So I was specifically looking for that. There's just not a lot of women who are. Now 4, that was a lot that I wasn't anticipating, but here we are, and it just kind of, my life changed, and so it's only natural that my circle would also end up kind
Yeah.
of changing with me.
Yeah. We evolve. We need to evolve because that helps us learn from each person that is in our life. And if they're not helpful to you, then they're a hindrance to you. If I'd rather be asked the question, Tiffany, he has 4 children. Are you okay with that? Because that's important. Are you going to be that? Oh well, he'll have them around sometimes, and I'll be okay. But that I have 6 kids, so hey, Daryl, I got 6 kids, and he was like, okay, it is what it is. It's a whole package deal.
Yeah, true love doesn't have those kind of blinders or barriers. If I love you, we'll figure this out because you figured it out, and I trust that you did an all right job figuring it out. So let's do this journey together and figure it out.
Mhm.
But Tiff, I was gonna say, Cameron Diaz just had her like third baby, and she's like 51 years old. Women are having babies later and later in life right now, and it seems to
No,
be
and I don't wanna be one of them.
well, okay, that's fair. That's fair and that's fine. You don't need to be, but I know that, you did mention going through different procedures and things like that on the
Yeah, no,
podcast.
I am.
So, I just wanted to see, since that is something that you do want or that you're still aiming for, and that is going to potentially be your life. So, I guess buckle up.
Well, I mean, yes, right? So, like, it's a
Hopefully not
very
at 51 though,
oh,
because
no, that's
No,
why I was like, well,
no,
that
no,
won't be because
no.
I don't
you
want
might
No.
that.
not be here.
No, congrats to Cameron Diaz. Oh, no diss at all. But I don't want that.
But
I
Cameron
want
Diaz also has a nanny.
oh, probably several. And also, have you seen her body? And I'm sure she is in the utmost shape, even though she's older than me. I am sure I am
Yes.
more out of shape than her.
Yes.
If given all those magical circumstances, fine. I may be popping on some babies at 51 if I wanted to.
Yeah. 'Cause how old
However,
was Janet Jackson? She was in her late 40s when she
she
had her son,
yeah, and that's
and
possible.
Beyonce's
I
40.
just, I don't want it to get to there. It can't because of my medical stuff.
Mhm.
But so right now we're looking at a short window, year or 2 years,
Josh,
and then
what
at
she
that point
wants
I'm
is to
good there.
have it in the next couple of years because what she wants to do is drop the baby off at my house so they can go to the movies or have
That is
dinner.
Yeah. I
true.
mean,
That's her goal.
That is
sure.
my goal, which is another reason, Josh, why I was like, "Ooh, moving to Florida. Mom's not gonna be there. What am I do?" Because when I have a baby, you gotta stay in the room where you gonna have to move in.
That's
Well,
what they see. That's what Keisha and Todd did when they
Our
had the
plan on
twins.
doing the same thing.
Yeah, I had
in
to
a
live with
perfect
them.
world, everybody can come to Florida. They're not like stopping people from coming.
Josh will not give up.
Just
Like,
saying.
literally,
Just
you
saying.
are the most resilient, the most, what's the, like, persistent person in the world.
And it's paid
Maybe
off
not in
for
the
you
world. I
a
haven't met
lot,
everyone in the world.
okay? It's paid off for you in
No,
ways.
it has actually. That is fair.
But she's got stuff coming up here. So she's been on the radio. She's going
I've
to be
already
on
tried
there
to steal
again.
her, and that chance left in a abrupt way. It was almost there, and
It was so close.
it
That
was
was
real close.
crazy.
It
That's
was real
okay.
close.
That's
It's all
okay.
right.
We're
Wasn't
forming a
meant to
good
be.
circle here.
That's right. And
Right.
I can have a
We
virtual
are.
circle, and she
Well,
pops in
also, you
every
already
can
been
come
here,
here, too,
and I was just
and
there.
visit.
Mind you, I just saw Josh on Saturday.
literally days ago.
That's
But
right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, of course I was just there too, and yes, I will be back, and that's just what happens. But a
Okay.
little fun,
And
a
that's
little
what
poke.
happens. My best friend lives in Philadelphia, and I was talking to her actually before this, telling her, what I'm getting ready to do and everything. And she's like, "Are they centering you?" I said, "No, but I'm going to be on my best behavior." They said they weren't going to censor me. She said, "Okay, as long as, okay." I was like, "Okay."
See, that's the people that really know her. That's why I was saying, every time. So when I first, and Don still does this now, and I even tell him, I'm like, why do you still do that? He'll be like, Mom, I got you on speaker. Tiffany's here. Like,
My sisters do it.
be
My sisters do
careful.
it.
Every
They'll say,
time.
"There's
He
kids in the
still
car."
does it.
They say, "It's kids in the car." And I go, "I am not that horrible, okay?
Oh my gosh.
I'm not that bad.
There's some level of respect though for having that unfiltered mouth.
I'm going to say what I say. And especially if I really care about you, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you. Because it's coming from here.
Hmm.
So if I need to sit you down and say, and I told Tiffany, sit your ass down, slow down. Things will come when they need to come. And if it's for you, it'll be for you. And sometimes we need to wait a little while because sometimes something might come, but it ain't the good thing. So sometimes you need to, look
We
at
talk
it.
about that too, about like just being in the present and taking the time to enjoy, what it is that you have. Like, as soon as I get something, I'm like, boom, got it. Okay, next. Boom, got that next. Like, it's like everything in my head is like this constant like competition. Like, it's just if I really said the things that I really be thinking, like y'all would be like, all right, we need to we got to put her in outpatient care or something. Like, I legit be like, "All right, next." Like, what it's just and so it's hard to kinda slow down, and it's also too I centered myself around a lot of friends that do that too, but also, like, a lot of my friends are entrepreneurs, so they're working 24/7, they're never off. At one point, and Josh, you know this, I was networking so much, like, I didn't know the difference between my networking friends, like, my real friends then my networking friends kind of started becoming my real friends. And then I was like, whoa. And then, but they would text me about work thing. And it was just this overwhelming thing. So it did kind of feel like, and it wasn't like a bad thing competitive with them. It just was like this, like insatiable feeling, like just never satiated and always wanting to like level up or see what it is they're doing and how could I do that, but not in a jealousy way, but just in a like, okay, I need to get there way. Like there's this always unattainable, like I gotta reach this level. And then I realized, like, okay, maybe I need to like change my circle a little bit with friends that are trying to ground and slow down and like be in the moment and kind of focus on like what is making us happy and passionate. And Josh, you and I talked about this before when we were talking about the podcast. And I was like, hey, if this gets to a point where it's like really super stressful or we're like beating down numbers and we're just comparing ourselves and not feeling good about it, like that's when I have to like bow out because I know like that's not good for my mental. And I'm finally at a place of growth where I could recognize that. So I just this is like my baby. This is like, okay, I care about this. I'm passionate about this. And then I really truly feel like, and this is the kind of leader that I am too. Like, if people really know how much you care, it'll pay off. And it may take longer, but like it'll pay off more in the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. When I'm raising children, the focus is on I have to get them educated. I have to get them through school. I'm just going to work and have a job so I can do what I need to do. When it starts becoming about just you, because you're going to have a baby. So while you're waiting for that to happen, yes, build your podcast, because once that baby comes, there's more attention on the baby. Babies don't care a damn about your feelings, your pains, your tears, your trying to go to the bathroom. They don't care at all. So do everything you got to do now before I told Tiffany because
So
they're gonna
now
make a
she's telling me to speed up. Y'all see this? Contradictory. I'm
no. No,
confused.
I'm not saying speed up having the baby. I'm saying get done what you want to do now, because when that baby does come, this'll be you on the podcast. Let me. This is my time to sleep. The hair will not be done. The makeup will not be on. None of that.
Listen,
None
but you
of it.
said show up as authentically me. So
That's
I'll
not
show
authentic.
up.
That's
Well, I'll shower, but my makeup may not be done and my hair not be done. Listen, when we first started this podcast, Josh, we were not doing our hair and not doing our makeup. I think like episode 3, I was like, okay, guys, I'm back. I got some inches. And that's when I was like, all right, I need to put some makeup.
I saw some extra wrinkles and I was like, holy shit, I'm gauging. So
I'm gauging.
that's what the
Tell
gays
her what
call it.
gauging is.
It's just the accelerated rate at which gays age. That's all. Yeah.
say it again. Gauging.
It's like dog years, but for gays. Yeah.
I never heard of that.
Yeah.
Even
they
though
call
it's
it
not a thing.
gauging.
It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Right.
good stuff. Yeah. So yeah, whenever I'm feeling a little older, I just got a little gauge going on.
We all get older.
I just thought about another question, Josh, from something that you had said. So when it comes to like friendships with your relationships, and like I know you said that you bring Dylan and things like that. How does that work? Do you guys typically share friends? Do you have separate friends? What is that dynamic? And have you ever had conversations with your friends where they're like, hey, I kind of would like to just hang with you?
Mm.
All the above, because I moved here from Michigan about 11 years ago. So I had to really change my entire life. I had to shift friends. I had to find new friends. Like you, Tiffany, I had to create a different community, a different circle for myself. But with that became a lot of lonely time and a lot of trying to figure myself out and trying to figure out where to put my time. And if the time I'm not putting out in other places is that well spent on myself, am I focusing on the beach and things that calm me? I did a lot of that, but with like friendships and bringing Dylan everywhere, I do it because I enjoy him being around. And if my friends don't want him there, then that's not the friend I want in my life. I'm at a place now where I'm married my husband. I didn't marry my friends. So he's now a package deal. And yes, I have the free reign to go out to lunch, to go shopping. Like my husband doesn't give a shit. For me, it's like I always talk through that. Like, hey, do you want to go to this? Okay, you don't. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and go, and or unless my girlfriends really want me there because it's a gay and gal brunch and it's just us, he wouldn't care because there's times that he went out to lunch with his friends and I didn't even know about it until like 2 weeks later. He was like, oh yeah, I went out to lunch with Kim that one day. I was like, oh really, when? He's like, oh, it was after work, you weren't home yet. It was like a half-hour dinner. Oh okay, I hope you had a good time. I don't care, I'm not jealous like that, and nor is he. But I just feel like I don't ever need or feel the want to not have him around. I could, but I know we're still in the honeymoon phase. We're coming up to year 5, you know? So
Oh, how long y'all been married?
October will be 5 years.
Yeah, yeah, y'all still, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
we're
And
still
she's like,
young.
"God."
You know, we're still young, so I know we'll get there. But I'm a creature of habit. I'm more of an introvert. I'm like you. I'm a little introvert extrovert, but I'm definitely leaning more into the introverted side.
Yeah.
But, you
I
know,
think the
back
older I have gotten, I definitely like the boring side.
mhm.
Um, Especially, kids are grown.
We call her Lit Stacy, but okay,
Now, if
continue.
you send me to a party, you're gonna get the lit Stacy. That's definite. Yes. That I love that Stacy. She comes out and then
So
she
it's
goes
no
back in
longer
her
Stacey
box.
Dry, it's Stacey Wet.
And go, no, what is it? Yeah. Um, and I'm going
Dawn's
back to
gonna
New
kill
Orleans
you,
again.
John.
When I'm out, you have to put me back in the box. Yeah. But yeah. But the boring, I love being bored. Me and my husband are on different work schedules. So I'm in the house by myself. I love it. I do. By the time he gets home, I'm asleep. So the weekends are ours. They know, we have our breakfast date or dinner date or whatever. But yeah, we have our time. And he loves it when I say I'm going out with my girlfriends. He go, yes, thank you.
How do you prioritize that time and who gets the time?
He has so we have friends that we hang out with because we're married. So most of our friends are married. So we have our couples that we hang out with. And then he has a bunch of friends that he hangs out with. Like every Friday, him, one of his friends, they go out to lunch and have steak together. So everybody has their calendars. I have girlfriends that go, hey, I got tickets for so and so. And I go, okay. Like last night, okay, I'm there. So we don't
It just
we don't
depends.
care.
It's not like a certain thing, and
Yeah.
I think, for us, it's first of all, Don will literally tell me, he'd be like, "If you invite me to one more girl-only event, I'm gonna kill you." And so, like, the last time I did it, it was I had only invited him because you and, Daryl decided to come out, but he was like, "It's all girls here." He was so grumpy with me, and I was like, "Okay, I'm not doing that again."
Sad.
That was at the winery after wedding dress shopping.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was all girls.
He was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "I thought they were staying longer and Daryl was there, whatever." Yeah. So I was like, "Okay, I won't do that." But I do think my friends haven't said like, "Oh, I don't want him around," but they'll just be like, "Can I just get some girl time?" And that's okay because that
Yeah.
probably just means they wanna talk to me about something they don't want Don to hear, and I'm not offended by that at all. I'm, like, completely understand because, like, me and Sid talk about this all the time, but, like, so Sid, me, and Ty, and Don, we have a group chat with the 4 of us. We call it the Metaverse chat, and I know we're all really just dorks. Anyway, but there's a text for just me and Sid, and then the group chat, and then there are certain things she'll be like, "Oh crap, I accidentally put that in the group chat, but I meant to put that for you." And then I'm laughing. I'm like, "Whatever, I don't care. I'll end up telling him anyway." But like we are very. It's different. Like she's like, okay, one night so her and I went out like 2 nights last week, so now this week we're like, okay, we did the separate thing. You want to do a couples night? Okay, cool. Now we'll do a couples night. So we'll loop in the boys. And so we do it like that. And that's been working out really good. So we have our alone time too, because there's things that, we just don't want to share in front of our spouses. Also, we want to share probably about our spouses and we're coming to vent. So we don't really want them there when that happens. So that's just, I think, just regular conversation. But I did one time when I first was dating, I had a friend who was like, dang, I'm single now. And I really miss when you were single. You were so much more fun.
Yeah, because I was single.
And I was like, but I was proud of myself, and Joshua would have been proud too. Because normally I'll like avoid the conversation and then get mad about it later. But instead, I was like, that was really kind of fucked up what you said, right? Like, you want me sad, and like, when I was single I was like miserable and I was like crying and I was upset I couldn't find anyone, and you were in a
That's that
relationship and I was
misery love
happy for
company.
you, and now I was like, how that comes off, right? And she immediately was like, okay, now when you say it like that, that's not what I meant. I just mean, like, I miss those nights, they were fun. And I'm like, yeah, I miss them too, they were fun, but like for what they were then, you
There's a
know
time and a place for everything, but misery does love company. So remember that. So if I'm lonely, I want to be with somebody who's just as lonely as me.
There's definitely a truth to that. And it's interesting since we're talking about partying and different phases and things like that. I had a friend who was polyamorous, and I don't give a shit about that. That was not my issue. So we actually had a falling out. We got back together. When we got back together, per se, they were now in a polyamorous relationship. But before that, it was just us four. Brittany and Tyler and me and Dylan. And then they reintroduced themselves as this throuple. I was like, okay, cool. She's welcome to come and hang out, no problem. But then things started getting awkward because then they would like fight in front of us and they would talk shit about each other and they would have certain rules. And one person was the hinge where they were like in charge of the other two. One person was making all the money and the other two were spending it. And then all of that went into the mix. Then the two girls started leaving their husband at home, who, by the way, was making all the money. And they were going out to Ybor every night and getting hammered and drunk and driving home drunk. And like they were just doing these extreme things that were just like out of nowhere.
A whole lot of people who like a whole lot of drama.
Yeah, so I quickly exited myself out of that group. And Tiffany, I actually was telling you about that because they viewed the podcast and they were like, "Hey, that was this friend." One of us accidentally viewed their profile somehow by swiping through and they saw that we
yeah
viewed it and they were like, "Hey, I saw that you were viewing my profile, so I figured I'd creep. What's up?" And I was like, "Nope, not viewing, not talking, not engaging, not doing it. No, no, no. You can view, you can listen, you can hear this episode right now. I don't give a damn. You're messed up. You need to get your life right. Fix your
Oh my
shit. You were
gosh.
once good people. You probably still have it in you, but you don't got it figured out. So goodbye."
yeah if it's too much drama, I'm like, "Oh, I got enough anxiety as it is. I don't need more, like, outside sources already affecting what's
Correct.
over here. Like, just keep that where you are."
Yeah.
But I wanted to kinda hear one last thing from you, Mom. What advice would you give women navigating friendships, relationships, family?
Number one, pay attention. I don't care what age you are. Pay attention to what people say. It matters. And you can read a lot into people's actions. If they don't match up with what they say, then you question it. I think at a certain age, you start finding your ride or dies. Like you guys are in your 30s. I was in my 30s when I found my ride or dies. No, I was right. I was 28 and I found my ride or dies. And they became my ride or dies because on my 30th birthday, they threw me a surprise party and got me totally drunk. It was fun though. Uh, and we've been friends for like that since then. I met them I think I was 27 when I met them. We all started working together.
What made them stick?
What made them stick was they allowed me to be me at all times. All times. I am who I am. I'm more calmer now than I was then, if you believe it or not. My children always tell Daryl, "You got the best of her because that's not my mom. That's the sweet one." And it's true. I am calmer now. Before I probably, I might smack you in your face or whatever, if it
You
ticks me
sound like
off.
you, Josh.
Um, so I'm calmer
Understanding.
now because I've learned that I can pay attention to you more. I don't think I was listening then. So now I learn to listen and decide how much time, because time is so precious to me. I want to deal with you. So there have been many, many people over the years that I just learned to like, hi, and move on. I will say that there have been a couple of hurts from friends. Daryl just asked me the other night. He said, what if this person called you tomorrow? Because for some reason they still show up on my Facebook timeline or whatever, because I don't update it enough to get rid of people. And he said, what if they call you or whatever? No, that's not gonna happen. No. We're cool, right?
Right where we are. Like, keep
Right
that
there.
space.
I see you have grandchildren, or you see mines. We don't ever have to speak again. So listening is very valuable. Listen to what somebody says. And then their actions. Oh God, their actions speak louder than words. Oh Lord Jesus. If you say you're going to do something, you don't do it, I take it just like that. I know instantly, okay, I'm not dealing with that.
Right.
My
Just no
gosh.
longer have the patience. And for me, I'm starting, and you know this because now is where I'm starting to shed friends. And I'm just kind of like, nope, nope. I see something I don't like. I'm having tougher conversations than I normally would. And I have some more tougher conversations that I, need to have that I'm kind of working up to doing. But I'm finally at a place where I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't want to deal with that. I'm good and I don't need it. And I'm good to or into the friendships that do matter. And Josh and I were just talking about like when you have surface level friends, and he's like, I don't really have a need for any surface level friends. So we don't need to be friends. And that's okay. Like, why are we keeping people around to satisfy them or be their entertainment? If I'm not feeling it, if it's not filling my cup,
I said earlier, like I lost one of my ride or dies a few years ago and talk about heartbreak. That was that was true heart, like that hurt.
May I ask, when you say lost, do you mean like the friendship dissolved, or you like physically they
She
passed away?
passed away.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
So in that lesson, I've always felt like time was the most important gift that we have here while we're still breathing, like always. But because she was so young, she was only 55, 56, it even hurt more. Like it really hurt more. And she didn't have children. My children were basically on her children. She's like auntie. So she watched my children grow up. She was there for prom nights and things like that. And Lord knows we've shared all of our secrets and all of our tears and everything. And so when she got sick, I live in North Carolina. She lived in Jersey. And I didn't care what was going on. I got to drive up there to go see her. And before she passed, my other best friend, we got together and got some money together to get the apartment taken care of. And then I had to send my sons over there to organize it. She was really in bad health where she could not get out the wheelchair and stuff like that. And the last time that I physically went up there to see her, sometimes you know, but you don't want to know. And I'm sitting there, and my sister was with me. I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and I know, like, but you just don't want to know. And I wanted to actually, okay, she's like 5'9", so I can't pick her up. But I wanted to pick her up and put her in my car and take her home and get her back to health and all this because that's love to me. That is love. That's the kind of friends that I want. I that know that time is precious and every moment we share has to be an experience. I want to learn from you. I want to pour into you. I want you to pour into me. I want to encourage you and I want you to encourage me because of that time. It's intentional. If it's fake love, I don't want no part of it. I need my time to share with the people I really, really care about and I really want to love. So I'm very, very careful on my circle. I don't, it's okay to call people, say, hey, how you doing? And that's fine, but not all my time. Not all my time.
I absolutely love everything that you've said today. I love everything that you brought to the table. I want to thank you for bringing the perspective of a parent and the perspective of a friend and what that looks like as the progression starts from your earlier years all the way until now, and what that looks like through death and everything. You just brought so much levity to all these
you just
things.
full
So,
circled it.
yeah, like we hit all of the dots today, and that's
I
what
know.
happens on these episodes. We go in looking for one topic, and yes, we did talk about that in several different viewpoints, but we always have some other way to tie in some other sort of life lesson. And I think that life
Yeah.
lesson for me today was just the wisdom that you had to bring.
My life lesson for me today was just listening, paying attention to not only what people say, but how they're making you feel. Like something you were saying, you were like, my time is really precious. So I don't want to spend it with someone that I'm not pouring into or they're not pouring into me because that time could have been doing something that is pouring into other people. And I realized I like overextend myself a lot for a lot of different things and reasons and people. And it's like not always for a benefit that makes sense. Josh, I love that you got to be able to connect with her too. I knew you guys would, like, hit it off, so I'm excited for, like, when you come visit, obviously, we'll come by the house and
Yeah,
everything. I'm, like, just inviting you over, but I always
here I
just be
am.
like, "Come over," because it's like, I feel like, and I told you this, so her birthday is the day before my mom's birthday, and, my mom and I have this, like it's this beautiful relationship, but it's gone through a lot, right? And so now I kinda feel like because I didn't grow up and didn't have some of the traumas and things like that, having this relationship form with you that really like I just feel safe and comfortable enough to be able to be vulnerable, to listen to what you have to say, to like take it in. It's this feeling of a different type of maternal feeling that I don't think I had felt before. And not and necessarily as if my mom wasn't maternal, but just something slightly different that for me was new and comforting and just felt good to be able to like explore.
When it comes to motherhood, even with my first child, like I knew, I made promises to myself. I think I told you this. I was not going to be like my mother. When you have children, you're responsible for that human being. And those human beings grow up to be people and they have their own ideas, their own way of life, and all that kind of stuff. I want to embrace the human being that they are and love on that human being that they are. I love my babies. They're all still my babies, no matter how old they are. And one thing I used to tell them when they were little was it doesn't matter what the subject is. Please, let's talk about it because you're going to get a lot of junk out there and you might get a lot of lies out there. Please just tell me what it is. We'll figure it out. We'll just figure it out. And I'll say this to you, Josh, as a man. I remember my father was born in 1921 and men had to be men and they couldn't cry and they couldn't do
Right.
this and this.
Tough. Yeah.
And I remember my father before he passed, oh, when he was still alive and I had boys. He said, "Don't tell them not to cry." That's a big mistake. And I appreciate that they can come and still cry and still want to not sit on my lap anymore because y'all can't fit, but
Especially Don, he's real tall. So
Where he going?
let's hug. Let's do whatever we got to do. But I've never liked the fact that men in a certain age group, actually, I just had this conversation with Marvin, my friend Marvin, that men just have that problem where they can't break that vulnerability, I want to say. And I knew as raising young Black boys in the hood, I want them to be strong because I know they got to go outside the house, but that house has to be your safe place. And I don't care what age that y'all get, inside your house is your safe place, period. And your vulnerability. When Daryl walks in that door, he knows inside that house, this is your comfort. This is where you are safe and comfortable. And I want everybody to feel that way. When people come into my house, I want you to feel safe and comfortable.
Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate
I
getting
loved it.
all the nuggets. And it was just, this is why we do this. This is why we have those conversations because you really just never know what you're going to get from them.
You
And
know,
I leave feeling like a cup full. So I appreciate you and love you.
love you.
Good night or good morning whenever you're listening, listeners and watchers.
Bye
Toodles.
bye.
Bye.